So we're doing this on Zoom because of the protocols that were put in place last week. Explain about the test results. What's come back?
Yeah, we've had one of our members of staff who is external to the football department in some ways, the football coach in the on-field. I think over 45 tests being done, and we're just making sure he's okay and everything else. But he's asymptomatic. There's nothing. And again, when people talk about the sloppiness of what goes on, Chris, people forget, people don't truly. What I'm on about the protocols within a building. The controllables, as you well know, this virus is so uncontrollable. Hence the reason why we're doing this on Zoom, and we don't know how to. But the one thing that we can do is make sure that our protocols within the building are of the utmost respect for the virus, which fundamentally keeps everyone's health in a good place. And I'm really happy with it. Obviously, there's been a number of stories this week that have been out that have looked to maybe throw us under the bus a little bit with one or two things that have happened. It doesn't surprise me that the industry, they use some of the things that we say. Some people don't like the truth. And we feel that we've dealt with everything in the best possible way. All my players, I'm immensely proud of them, and because they do try and do the right things. As a football club, all we can do is give them the education, the guidance, the little elements of support that we feel is correct under the EFL guidance. So I'm quite comfortable with. And Chris, like I say, we're still going to work, and people need petrol, and people need to come into shops, and we're not saying getting the virus is somebody's fault. You mentioned this just before to me. It is part and parcel of why we're in a lockdown, because of how easily this is transmitted. But it's when people go out of their way to not do the things right within a building, or fundamentally to do things that are against government guidelines. And I'm really pleased that we seem to people are respecting our wishes as a football club, but our wishes as a football club are certainly under the guidance of the government, really. And Amy and the medical team have been incredible in their attention to detail, and our doc, James Baldock, who's been brilliant since he's walked in the building. What a terrible time to come into a football club. But he's been fantastic, and I'm really, really proud of our medical team and how well they've conducted themselves. Like I say, it could happen to me and you, Chris. We could get it going into work. You just don't know. But arguments you're in there, you've got to make sure that you're trying to limit the spread. But it's been at the back end of a good few days for the football club on the pitch, which is nice to talk about that. And me and you were speaking last night. I was speaking to Neil and a lot on our WhatsApp group that what's happened over the last 24 hours is out of our control and not great. But I feel very, very fortunate that, and I don't think there's a minute goes by that we're still going into work and we're still told we can play. Hopefully we can bring a sense of a little bit of normality into people's lives, that our game carries on. Yeah. And that's, I only know through mental health conversations that I have, that I think it's 18 million people across England are affected by football, whether that be supporting, playing, whatever it may be. So when you look at that, that's a large percentage of our country that will still have a team to follow and to support through this period.